Well, well, I told you I was going to make the video today, guys, and here it is. Nintendo has officially announced the Nintendo Switch, the true name of codename NX. Man, does it look fantastic. I'm not going to ramble too much because I want to jump right into it. I'm going to give you the top 5 things that I've pulled out of this video and where I think the NX is going. So without any further ado, let's jump into it. Alright, so obviously first things first, the name and the body. The Nintendo Switch is obviously being touted as a new console. The best part about this is that they show this through detachable controllers and that the console can be docked at home or be taken on the go, the entire system. It's no longer just a home console that sits there. And through various leaks and other interviews of the company, they said that Nintendo has been trying to shift towards this focus. I am curious to see, though, that if something like this is going to permanently replace the 3DS lineup, only because of its power and mobility. You know, the 3DS is not the most powerful system out there, and having a system that is now cartridge-based, being able to have games on the go, could potentially be a complete and total replacement for their handheld lineup. I don't think Nintendo will do that, however, because of the portability and ease of use of the 3DS. Secondly, we get to look at a sneak peek of the games that we have here. We see quick little glimpses of game footage thrown in throughout. We saw Breath of the Wild, the new Zelda game that's coming out, a new Mario Kart, a new Mario platformer, potentially a new Splatoon, and oh, did I mention a new Mario platformer? You know, no more of this Mario Galaxy boots on the ground Mario thing. You just got, what an excellent way to hit home for all the nostalgia of all the players on Nintendo 64 by bringing in a new Mario platformer that is very reminiscent of Mario 64. Oh, and there's 2K, I guess. I don't know, but new Mario, man, come on! You know, you gotta get hyped for that. Also, if you look closely, you can see a reminiscence of Mario Kart Double Dash. You can see 2 items at the top of the screen, but only 1 racer, so it's definitely a new title in the works, but I think it's a really nice homage to Mario Kart Double Dash, which was one of their best Mario Karts in the series. On a serious side note, though, it is important that they showed off games like this if this really is 2K. Now, I'm not one to quote on this because I don't play sports video games, so I don't know if this is what 2K even looks like. But if it is, that's a very good thing to try and to appeal to a whole new demographic that they lost a long time ago. Another demographic that they're trying to pull in is the Bethesda demographic. We clearly saw playing footage of Skyrim on this, and this is excellent news confirming that the Nintendo Switch is going to be running a custom-build NVIDIA Tegra chip. And now, like I said earlier, it is confirmed to run at 1080p 60 frames a second, which puts it on par with the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now, I don't want to say anything yet. I'll get to that in just a second. But because we're seeing Skyrim on this is probably Skyrim Remastered, which means that it's easier for developers to now get back on board and bring in that third-party support that has been a dry, barren wasteland since the Wii, which it's just been terrible, and Nintendo needs that third-party support. Even the Ubisoft CEO said that it was a delight to develop or work with the, at the time, NX, now the Switch, to develop for and make it, it's really going to help the Switch come back into the game. Okay, so the third thing that I want to talk about, I'm not going to delve too deep into it just because I've talked about it before in past videos, and I don't think that I really need to explain it too much. But we do know that with the current Tegra chip, it will run 1080p 60 frames a second, which is good with the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now, it won't be as strong as the Pro and the Scorpio, but where this is a good thing is that both Sony and Microsoft have stated that their current system owners won't be left behind. This means that it allows Nintendo to essentially play catch-up and be on par with the new games and let developers bring in their software once again to the very dry third-party support that Nintendo has needed since the Wii's launch back in 2005. We thought we were going to get a lot more third-party support, but we definitely didn't see that, and even the Wii U struggled with that, causing sales to plummet drastically. Now, from what I can tell, and I find it very interesting, is that these games are all going to be cartridge-based, and the one thing I noticed when you saw the guy playing the Switch on the plane and you put the cartridge in was that it's not the same shape or the same size as 3DS cartridges, and it's all speculation, but I think this confirms that it will not replace the 3DS, nor will it have cross-platform support, so I think it will be more so any Switch games will be on the Switch, and 3DS will still stay its own system. Alright, so the fourth thing that I want to really focus on for a second is the controllers of the Switch. We haven't really had a normal controller from Nintendo since 2001 when the GameCube launched. And that's really important because a lot of gamers have been alienated from Nintendo's fan base because of the Wiimote and the gamepad. I mean, I guess you could say that the Pro Controller for the Wii U was kind of a nice replacement, but it wasn't really clear and defined what was supposed to be the ultimate controller, the pinnacle be-all end-all for that system, because you could still use the Wiimotes, you could use the classic controller, you could use the Pro Controller, you could use the gamepad. It was just a big hairy mess that Nintendo was just like, well, you have all these choices, but which one are you really supposed to use for which dedicated game? And one nice thing about this is it looks like the controller for the Switch is a much more basic, straightforward controller that, besides the fact that it detaches, it also has its own little handle that you slide the controllers onto when you're home and you're docked up and you're playing at home with just a nice relaxing feeling. You're not worried about losing these two little Joy-Cons all over the place. What I do want to talk about really quick though is the new Pro Controller that is the equivalent of the Wii U's Pro Controller. Obviously, it does resemble the Xbox controller very similarly because that is a very ergonomical design. It's very comfortable, a lot of pro gamers use it, and it just seems to fit the bill very well for gaming in general. There were some weird things that I noticed about the footage though that I couldn't quite make out myself just because of lighting and other effects. It did look like there were two versions of that controller, one where the analog sticks were convex, similar to that of the PS3, 2, and 1's analog sticks, and then it looked like there was one when they showed the arena full of people and the team gamers using a controller that looked like it had concave analog sticks, which would make it better for MLG players, esports players, which also leads me into my next and final point. Now, this last point isn't so much about the system itself per se, as to where Nintendo is going to be heading with the future of their gaming and what they're potentially showing us in this arena. Again, it's all speculation, but we see two teams strategizing and playing Splatoon and then going to a stage in the center of a major arena. I'm thinking that Nintendo might finally be getting on board with MLG gaming and realizing the potential of esports. Nintendo has an astounding following for its Smash Bros. Series. Personally, I love the Smash series. Everybody knows I love the Smash series. Yoshi's my main, he's my boy, you know? And, I've gone to tournaments, and it's fantastic. It's one of the best feelings when you're playing against other players from all around, and yet, for some reason, Nintendo has never really fully endorsed it. This could potentially be foreshadowing of a shift in a new direction for Nintendo. Splatoon has a fantastic amount of potential for esports, and if Nintendo markets their games correctly with this system, it could be a very lucrative payoff. This is something that Nintendo could easily bank on, and if they fully endorsed Splatoon as MLG gaming and Smash as MLG gaming, this could be a huge turnaround for them and the way that people view Nintendo gaming in general. Alrighty guys, that's my thought on the whole process. I'm pretty sure that Nintendo, if they market this correctly, they're just going to knock it out of the park. I think that they have huge potential here, huge opportunity for them to really bring back a lot of their fans that they lost when Xbox came out, when the PS3 really came out. I think that's like, well, even the PS2 was kind of like a huge shift for them. That's when people came from the N64 and the PS1, and they're like, well, the PS2 has this huge game library, and there's no one here on GameCube, so we're gonna go to Sony now because they have all the games and the third-party support. You know, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave your comments below. I will respond to them if you think I'm wrong on something, or if you have more to add to it, an interesting thought. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you did enjoy it, I'd love to have you subscribe and turn on the little bell to get notifications, so you know when we're getting more videos, because, you know, YouTube doesn't like to support the little guy anymore. But anyway, thanks for sticking around, and I will probably be doing an update video once the entire reveal, once we know all the specs and everything like that comes out. Thanks, guys, and I'll catch you later.